Welcome to Soft Talk. Today's guest is Major General Purnabi Shilbal. He leaves behind 35 years of illustrious career with the Nepali army. He has obtained his PhD in national security from the Tribhuvan University. He obtained his Masters of Science from the National Defense University, Washington, D.C. He's the author of that celebrated book, Nepal's Instability Conundrum, Navigating Political, Military, Economic, and Diplomatic Landscape. I have gone through that book. It can offer insight into Nepal's security challenges in a not so easy geopolitical setting. Today, in today's edition of Soft Talk, we will be talking about the election of Donald Trump as the 47th President of the United States. What does it mean for Nepal? What will be the ramifications of Donald Trump's re-election as the president of the world's superpower? I request you to just, first of all, welcome to the program, sir. Thank you for giving us time. And I request you to just explain the ramifications of the United States election and the election of Donald Trump as the President of the United States.
Thank you, Devendraji. Thank you for having me on your show. Before I start, I would like to give my little bit of background about the US elections. I was a military advisor in the permanent mission of Nepal to the United Nations in New York from 2008 to 11. So I was there in 2008 presidential election. And again, in 2012, I went to study in National War College, National Defense University, Washington, D.C. So I had an opportunity to closely watch the American presidential elections. So I a little bit understand how it goes, how presidential election are conducted, and how it will impact globally and regionally. Your question related to ramifications, what I say is that Donald Trump has been elected and he has majority both in the Senate and in the House. So he's a very strong 47th president. So he can pass all his bills in both the houses very easily. And he's much more stronger than his first term. So as far as ramification is concerned, he's very much known as an unpredictable leader. His friends and foes both are very anxious, very anxiously waiting to see how his policy would unfold, because of the fact that he has revealed many of his plans during the campaign trail, and that is going to have to one of the arch rival, China, and another in various regions, such as in Russia-Ukraine war, Israel, Hamas, and Israel-Hezbollah war, Israel-Iran conflict. So there will be a huge impact as not only after his term begins in January 2020, but even right now, before taking over as president, the impacts ramification has been seen around the world, and the world leaders are planning to adjust or to respond or to prepare themselves, how to deal with, how to react to his various plans after January 20th.
Mhm. How will this election, the election of Trump as the president, impact our foreign relations in the neighborhood, our relations with India and China and beyond, India and China and the rest of the world?
Okay, basically, Trump has already unfolded some of his plans vis-a-vis China. He has clearly stated that he would tariff 60% on all goods um, coming in from China to the United States. So that will have an economic impact, trade impact globally, and that impact will have a kind of ramifications to Nepal, to South Asia, and globally there will be some kind of, because China is a big producer of all kinds of goods, and it supplies all over the world. And basically, United States is the largest buyer of Chinese goods. So that will have an impact. And another impact on India is that Modi and Trump has very good relations, and both are democracies, and both have common interest vis-a-vis China, common interest in South China Sea, and in many other global issues. So India is going to be comfortable, under Trump administration. Probably they will have more cooperations, and the trajectory of relations is going to be heading towards upwards rather than downwards. So these two countries have different kind of relations with the United States in the next 4 years, and um, India's relation with the United States and India's relations with China will definitely have consequences on Nepal, because India's China policy is to contain China, and also United States has containment policy towards China, and Nepal, as a sandwiched between two these giant neighbors, and United States has a great interest, primarily because of the Tibet and the Tibetan refugees. So probably we'll have difficult time dealing with China. There is a lot of pressure from India and United States in many areas of our bilateral relations.
Do you see like what they call this silver lining in that dark cloud? Because the United States will have increased exchanges with India, which is our next door neighbor.
Yes, I think there is always, whenever there is some challenges, opportunity also comes within that challenges. So the opportunities we can explore, and we can really exploit is that once Chinese goods will be expensive in the United States, United States will look for countries producing goods in cheaper price. Maybe India is one of them, and Nepal also can benefit if we smartly deal with India. If we smartly negotiate with India. So we can also contribute in producing goods to export to the United States. And also, since China will be kind of what you call it, decoupled economically with the United States, our trade, we can exploit that opportunity to enhance our trade with China also. But there will be some limitations because of our two neighbors are not having same global views. They don't have similar views on South China Sea and United States interest in different parts of the world.
So it will be a tightrope walk for Nepal because the United States policies will be more hostile towards China than they have ever been, whereas they will just have friendlier policies with India. Is that
Yes, you
what
know,
you are reading is?
I've heard uh, Indian leaders responding to Donald Trump's victory,
Mhm.
and they are optimistic. They perceive that relations between India and United States will be even better in many areas. Maybe because of United States economic policy, in some Indian goods there will be more tariffs, but they will adjust in other areas to move forward because their goals, their interest globally is even larger than their bilateral trade. So how America and Russia's relations will, go. Um, it will also have impact on U.S.-India relations because India and Russia has very deep historical and strategic relationship. If American relations with Russia improves, India even will be in very comfortable positions in international affairs. There will be more trade with Russia, and Russia will come closer to the United States because of Trump's personal relation with Putin is very good.
Then there is the Middle East, that is like home to a large number of Nepali workers. Uh, Donald Trump is also talking about a different kind of Mideast policy. His administration aims to contain Iran. And there are fears that there may be increased hostilities in that region. How do you just do you see like unrest in the Middle East in the coming days and that impacting a large number of Nepali workers and the remittance inflow that comes to Nepal because of that hostile American policy? Probably
Uh,
hostile.
okay, I have listened some of the American leaders' views on this. What happens is Trump has already signaled to Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu that he should finish the war before January 20th. So if that happens, then how Israel with develop renew its relations with Lebanon, how it will renew its relations with Palestine, and how it renews its relations with Saudi Arabia because Israel and Saudi Arabia was about to sign Abraham Accord before October 7, last October 7. So that might again be revived once Trump take over. So there are two sides. We can assume two things might happen. Either relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia will, if improved, as per the Abraham Accord, probably relations with other Arab countries will also improve with Israel. But Trump's policy towards Iran is a little harsh than Biden administration because of the fact that in Trump 1.0 also he had abandoned the nuclear agreement with Iran. So US policy on Iran will be more harsh than in previous administration. But I do not foresee at this point of time that war will take place or Middle East situation will escalate further and there will be a wider between Iran and other Arab countries vis-a-vis the Israel. But as you have assumed, if in case there is going to be a war between Iran and Israel, it will have impact, great impact on Nepalese working in Middle East because of once Israel and Iran start fighting directly, so it would be kind of a regional war. So many other Arab countries will be involved. They will be compelled to join, take sides. And domestically, if the conflict, spreads in Middle East, then our Nepalese migrant workers will definitely have a lot of impacts. They might be, they might have to withdraw back to Nepal. I do not see at this point of time because, Donald Trump, generally, his policy is to use economic tool, trade tool to achieve his goal. His goal is, primarily MAGA, make America great again, create jobs within the United States, reduce inflation, and expel illegal migrants. So his focus is more on economic, and by using economic trade and other, economic related tools, he basically wants to make a deal with his friends and foes with a view to, making benefit to the American interest.
Then there is this war between Russia and Ukraine. Donald Trump has announced that he will just seek to, I think he has said he will end the war. Do you see that happening? Is there a real probability of that war ending under a Trump administration?
It is very difficult to forecast particularly in this event. Why I say this is yesterday Biden administration has approved Ukraine to allow use long-range American missiles to fire even within the Russian territory, and a couple of missiles were already fired. So there is a chance that war will escalate until January 20th, and Ukraine will get more American weapons and aid within this period, and war will further escalate. And if by that time one of the parties wins the war will automatically stop. If that would not happen, then like the likely scenario would be that Trump administration may lay some kind of pressure on both sides by using carrot and stick policy. So he can give something to both sides, or also coerce that, okay, if you do not abide by my request, you'll have some consequences. So Russia also, Putin has personal relations with Donald Trump, and there are likelihood that war might stop through some kind of compromise. But by that time, both sides will try and gain more ground, capture more ground, and make their negotiating positions stronger, so that when negotiation takes place after January 20, um, that both sides would be in a better position to negotiate, to give and take, because particularly take on territorial aspect. For example, Ukraine has occupied some Russian territory, and Russia has occupied about 20% of the Ukrainian territory. If current territorial occupation is continued until January 20th, so there will be a negotiation, who will, compromise on how much territory, there will be a give and take. If they really want to sit for peace negotiations, and if they are very serious to settle down, settle down. So I'm sure the war will, further escalate until that time. Then try to, defeat the adversary
Do you also
if
see the
possible.
okay, sorry to interrupt you there. Do you also see the possibility of de-escalation between Israel and Palestine?
No, Israel and Hamas, or Israel and
Hamas,
Hezbollah, Palestine. Palestine government
yeah, some
is
sort
not
of
fighting
a two-state solution
against
on the
Israel.
horizon under Trump administration?
There are likelihood in, because war with Hamas has died down, but
Mhm.
prisoner of war, the hostages are still with, even there is one Nepali
Yeah, you can just see.
Hamas control. So there are about 100 Israeli hostages with Hamas. So there is a negotiation yet to take place. Ceasefire has not taken place yet. And also with Hezbollah in Lebanon, fighting is still ongoing. And recently I have heard that Hezbollah has fired some missiles within Israel, and there are a lot of aerial warning signs going on Israel. So war is still continuing, but Hamas is uh, not a state, not a national army, so it cannot sustain war for a longer period.
Mhm.
Uh, so war might stop, conflict might stop between Israel versus Hezbollah and Israel versus Hamas within next 2 months. That's not very difficult to happen, because they have already exhausted, or both side, three sides have already exhausted. So, and once American pressure comes in, hopefully the war will stop and some kind of peace settlement will take place.
There is also one more Nepali concern in the Mideast, that is the presence of Nepali peacekeepers in that war-torn region.
Yes, Nepalese peacekeepers are deployed along Israel-Lebanon border. When Israel launched a ground offensive within Lebanon, peacekeepers were directly affected, because the advance of Israeli army was going through some of these UN held positions, locations. And there was pressure from Israeli side that peacekeepers has to leave that place and withdraw towards Lebanon or back to their country. But United States stood against Israeli pressure, and there are some casualties, and there are some fear that there will be more casualties. But United Nations will not die down, will not withdraw. They will remain there to maintain peace between Israel and Lebanon.
One more concern, a pressing concern for Nepal is that this tougher immigration policy, how will it impact Nepal and the Nepali diaspora and those seeking to study in the United States, those seeking jobs in the United States, etc.?
Okay, Trump has already strongly stated that he will expel all illegal immigrants from the United States. There are about 20 million illegal immigrants. Some of them are Nepalese as well, but not in big number, because Nepalese in the United States are not in big number. They may be only 4 or 5 lakhs. And but after January 20th, Trump administration will definitely expel illegal immigrants. Nepalese will also be expelled. They will not be spared. All those who do not have some kind of legality or legal documents with them, so they will be, collected and expelled back to their country. But it will take a long time. The United States is a huge country, and the illegal immigrants generally, they work secretly. With those without document, without any identity cards, uh, actually work illegally. They do not come out. They work in the houses or in factories somewhere illegally. So it will take a lot of time to find them and to collect and then expel. So by the time, if some illegal immigrants succeeded to get some kind of legal documents, they will be there. Others will be surely expelled. Also, Trump will try to build again walls with Mexico, because Mexico US border is very porous. Although it's a regulated border, it's not open border, but there are a lot of places where illegal migrants, immigrants can infiltrate during night, or where there are no surveillance cameras, and that is happening all the time. That is one of the more worry to the United States, and Trump has really cast that sentiments and won election twice. Earlier election also in Trump 1.0, his main election election campaign agenda was illegal immigrants. Now also he brought up same agenda. I think that was a major agenda in the list. So I'm sure that will happen, and they will be expelled. But I think there are bad and good news. Those who are illegal will be expelled, but Nepalese who are trying to go to United States in future illegally, they will be prevented from making that kind of attempts.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good news. We as a Nepali, we should not go to United States or any other country illegally.
Yes. One more question I have. This is regarding the much talked about state partnership program. Will Nepal be under increased pressure to just join that program? If Nepal joins that program, what will be the ramifications? What will be the benefits for Nepal? What will be Nepal losing if Nepal just becomes a part of that program, the state partnership program?
Nepal has not joined state partnership program yet. There was a talk earlier, and Chief of the Army Staff, then General Program Sharma, has stated clearly in the parliamentary committee that Nepalese army will not sign or will not join the SPP. And current government led by Prime Minister KP Oli is not in favor. The way I understand, it's not in favor of signing SPP. So there will be a lot of cooperation, military cooperation, and state-to-state cooperation between Nepal and the United States, but signing that particular agreement, I think, will not take place in future, because there are a lot of sentiments, there are a lot of political opposition from various quarters, and it is very difficult to resist that pressure. So I do not think SPP will be formalized in the near future.
So these are some of the issues that we raised during today's soft talk. Any issue that is left out from this conversation, would you like to comment on some other issues that I just left untouched due to time constraint? We have about 4 minutes to just wrap up this program. So, any parting remarks?
What I feel is the way Trump has revealed or unfolded his plans as 47th president during campaign trails. NATO will be weakened. Trump will put pressure on European countries to contribute more fund on NATO's expenditure. So United States will reduce its funding. So Europeans are worried, and it will have impact on transatlantic security. And again, another very important point I would like to mention here is that in last administration, Trump 1.0, he has cut US contribution to the peacekeeping operations, UN peacekeeping operations. So again, there are likelihood that American will be hesitant to continue as it is now funding the peacekeeping missions. The peacekeeping missions might be, shrinked. Some troops will have to withdrawn. In that case, Nepal will be one of the victims. Nepal will be directly affected. We are number one contributor right now in terms of both total in the total strength as well as female strength. Once funding is cut, because America is the largest contributor, financial contributor to the peacekeeping mission. In that case, some missions will be closed, some staff will be cut. So Nepal will also have some kind of impact, will face some kind of impact in that contributions.
We need to have some contingency plans in place. That means like the government has to think through this possible scenario. With this point, we have come to the end of this edition of Soft Talk. I heartfully thank you for your time, for your thoughts. It was, I think, an enlightening conversation, a conversation that generated more light than heat. Thank you for your time and thoughts.
Thank you, Devendraji. Thank you very much.
Namaskar. Thank you. We'll keep the conversation going in the coming days as well.
Sure.